Here's what narcissists are secretly planning behind no contact. You've made the brave, difficult, and utterly essential decision to implement no contact with the narcissist in your life. You've cut the cords, silenced the noise, and created a protective barrier between their chaos and your precious peace. The immediate silence that follows can be both a blessing and a torment. On one hand, there's the profound relief of freedom, the quietude after the storm. But on the other, there's often a gnawing anxiety, a pervasive question that whispers in the back of your mind. What are they doing now? What are they thinking? Have they forgotten me? Have they truly moved on? You might be tempted to believe that their silence signifies surrender, that they've simply accepted your absence and shifted their focus elsewhere. You might even hope that the profound peace you've cultivated means they've given up entirely. But the truth, as always with a narcissist, is far more complex, far more strategic, and frankly far more unsettling than mere indifference. Their silence is rarely, if ever, a sign of genuine defeat or acceptance. Because here's a crucial insight that most people, caught in the emotional aftermath of narcissistic abuse, rarely consider. The period of no contact, from the narcissist's perspective, is not a time of reflection or remorse. It is often a period of intense covert activity. It's a time when their disordered mind, fueled by narcissistic injury and an insatiable need for control and supply, enters a calculating strategic mode. They are rarely truly gone. Instead, they are frequently secretly planning. In this vital and deeply illuminating discussion, we are going to courageously peel back the layers of narcissistic psychology to reveal exactly what narcissists are secretly planning behind no contact. We will delve into the manipulative blueprints they construct, the strategies they devise, and the psychological levers they aim to pull to regain access to you, or at least to secure their continued supply from other sources while protecting their fragile facade. Understanding these hidden plans is absolutely essential for fortifying your no contact, protecting your healing journey, and ultimately, securing your lasting liberation. Prepare to gain profound clarity, arming yourself with knowledge that will protect your peace for good. Welcome back, resilient souls, to a conversation that promises to demystify some of the most perplexing and often terrifying aspects of the narcissistic dynamic. If you've ever felt haunted by the unknown after going no contact, if the silence has felt heavy with unspoken threats, this discussion is precisely what you need. As we embark on this journey of enlightenment, please remember to hit that like button, share this video with anyone else who might desperately need this vital understanding, and subscribe to our channel to join our growing community committed to understanding and healing from narcissistic abuse. Let's dive deep into the covert operations of a narcissist's mind. When confronted with the impenetrable wall of no contact, their silence is a calculated move, not an admission of defeat. Their planning isn't a rational, healthy process, but a series of desperate, self-serving calculations rooted deeply in their pathological needs for supply, control, and the constant protection of their brittle false self. They are desperately assessing their narcissistic supply needs and deficits. One of the most immediate and primal secret plans that consumes a narcissist behind no contact is a frantic, desperate assessment of their narcissistic supply needs and the gaping deficit your absence has created. When you initiated no contact, you didn't just remove a person from their life, you cut off a vital, often high-quality and reliable source of emotional fuel. This fuel, whether it was your admiration, your fear, your anger, your tears, or your constant attention, was the psychological oxygen that sustained their fragile ego and masked the terrifying emptiness within. Psychologically, a narcissist lacks an internal reservoir of self-worth and emotional regulation. They are entirely dependent on external validation, narcissistic supply, to feel alive, significant, and to maintain their grandiose false self. Your absence creates an immediate, agonizing void that feels akin to a severe withdrawal from a potent addiction. Their planning begins with this acute awareness of a supply shortage. They are not thinking, "I miss them." Instead, their internal monologue is a frantic, "Where is my supply? How do I get more? How do I fill this agonizing void?" They are subconsciously, or even consciously, calculating the severity of the deficit and the urgency with which they need to find new sources. This initial planning phase is characterized by intense agitation, irritability, and a desperate search for anything that can temporarily numb the discomfort of their supply deprivation. They are like a starving predator, scanning the psychological landscape for any potential source of nourishment, and their initial silent period is often a desperate attempt to triage the damage and strategize their next move to alleviate their internal agony. 2. They are calculating the cost of re-engaging with you following the initial shock of supply loss. A crucial part of the narcissist's secret planning behind no contact involves a cold, detached calculation of the cost of re-engaging with you versus the potential benefit of regaining your supply. For a narcissist, every interaction is a transaction, and your worth is measured by the utility you provide and the ease with which you can be manipulated. Psychologically, the narcissist operates on a purely utilitarian basis. They assess whether the effort required to break your no contact, overcome your new boundaries, and re-establish you as a source of supply is worth it. This calculation is devoid of emotion. They are weighing your perceived value, how much supply you typically provided, how easily you were controlled, against the potential challenges, your new boundaries, your possible indifference, the risk of narcissistic injury if you reject them. They might consider whether you are too much trouble now, especially if you have become strong and unresponsive. This planning involves analyzing your vulnerabilities, your potential triggers, and your current emotional state, often through indirect means. They are not thinking about reconciliation. They are thinking about efficiency. If the cost of re-establishing contact and securing supply from you seems too high, or if they anticipate a significant narcissistic injury, they might temporarily defer their re-engagement plan with you and focus on easier targets. This calculation is a continuous process, influenced by their fluctuating supply levels and your perceived accessibility. They are always weighing options, always strategizing the most effective way to fill their needs with the least amount of effort and risk to their fragile ego. 3. They are monitoring your status and vulnerability from a distance. A significant part of a narcissist's secret planning behind no contact involves continuous, albeit covert, monitoring of your status, your emotional well-being, and any signs of vulnerability from a distance. Their silence is often a form of surveillance, not absence. They need to know if their absence has broken you, if you are struggling, or if you have found new sources of happiness that challenge their perceived indispensability. Psychologically, narcissists are obsessed with control and validation. They cannot tolerate the idea that you might be thriving independently, or that their absence has had no detrimental effect on your life. Your suffering provides them with perverse supply and confirms their power. Their planning includes various methods of indirect monitoring, social media stalking, from fake accounts or through mutual connections, subtly interrogating mutual friends or family members, flying monkeys, or even driving by your home or workplace. They are looking for any sign of distress, loneliness, or emotional vulnerability that could indicate you are ripe for a Hoover attempt. Conversely, if they detect genuine happiness, peace, or success in your life, it triggers intense narcissistic injury and profound envy, which might lead them to either intensify their hoovering attempts to disrupt your peace, or to strategically retreat because your thriving becomes an unbearable affront to their ego. This continuous monitoring is a crucial part of their long-term strategy, allowing them to time their next move precisely when they perceive you to be most susceptible or when their own supply needs become critical. 4. They are meticulously crafting a Hoover strategy. A central component of a narcissist's secret planning behind no contact is the meticulous crafting of a Hoover strategy, a calculated plan to pull you back into their orbit. This is never about genuine remorse or a desire for reconciliation. It is always about regaining control and re-establishing you as a source of supply. Psychologically, narcissists are master manipulators who adapt their tactics to the perceived vulnerabilities of their target. Their planning involves carefully considering which specific Hoover technique will be most effective for you. This might include a love-bombing Hoover, feigning intense affection, promises of change, a pity play Hoover, claiming illness, tragedy, or profound loneliness to elicit sympathy, a manufactured crisis Hoover, creating an emergency that only you can solve, a false apology Hoover, offering a superficial, non-specific apology designed to elicit forgiveness without genuine accountability, a future-faking Hoover, promising a perfect future together that will never materialize, or even a benign Hoover, a seemingly innocent text or call that is merely a test of your boundaries. Their planning considers your emotional weaknesses, your known triggers, and the specific dynamics of your past relationship. They are patiently waiting for the opportune moment, for a crack in your resolve, or for their own supply levels to become critically low. This strategic plotting ensures that when they do attempt contact, it is precisely designed to maximize their chances of success and minimize their risk of rejection, a risk that causes them immense narcissistic injury. 5. They are actively cultivating new supply sources and backup plans. While contemplating a Hoover, a significant part of a narcissist's secret planning behind no contact is the active cultivation of new narcissistic supply sources and the establishment of backup plans. For them, relationships are purely transactional, and redundancy is key to their psychological survival. Psychologically, narcissists cannot tolerate a supply deficit. Their internal emptiness and inability to self-regulate demand a constant influx of external validation. When you go no contact, their immediate priority is to fill the void. Their planning involves actively seeking out new primary sources of supply, new romantic partners, new friends, new colleagues they can exploit, and identifying secondary sources, casual acquaintances, ex-partners they can recycle, or flying monkeys. This is not about genuinely moving on, it's about shoring up their supply lines. They are quickly love-bombing new targets, meticulously crafting their charming facade, and rapidly building new relationships to ensure a steady flow of attention and admiration. These new sources serve as a buffer against the agony of your absence, and also as leverage. Their planning creates a psychological safety net, ensuring they are never truly alone with their internal void. This proactive search for new supply highlights their fundamental lack of object constancy and their view of people as interchangeable resources, making them less likely to genuinely reflect on their past behavior with you. 6. They are initiating a covert smear campaign against you. A particularly insidious and pervasive aspect of a narcissist's secret planning behind no contact is the initiation of a covert and sometimes overt smear campaign against you. Their reputation is paramount, and they cannot allow your version of the truth to undermine their carefully constructed false self. Psychologically, narcissists are terrified of exposure and public humiliation. Their entire identity rests on a fabricated image of superiority and benevolence. Your knowledge of their true abusive nature poses a direct threat to this facade. Their planning involves meticulously crafting a distorted narrative about your character and the breakup. They will spread rumors, tell outright lies, and selectively reveal half-truths to mutual friends, family members, colleagues, or even new acquaintances. Their goal is to preemptively discredit you, to portray you as crazy, unstable, vindictive, jealous, or the abuser, thereby protecting their own image and ensuring that if you ever speak your truth, it will be dismissed as the rantings of a bitter ex. This planning is driven by profound fear and shame, which they quickly convert into strategic malice. They will often play the victim in these narratives, garnering sympathy and new supply from their unsuspecting audience. This smear campaign is a critical defensive maneuver, a calculated attempt to control the narrative and preserve their access to other supply sources by isolating you and destroying your credibility. They are playing the victim to flying monkeys and other proxies. Another crucial part of a narcissist's secret planning behind no contact involves extensively playing the victim to flying monkeys, mutual friends, family members, or acquaintances they can manipulate into doing their bidding. This allows them to garner sympathy, control information, and maintain a connection to your world without direct engagement. Psychologically, narcissists are masters of projection and externalizing blame. They cannot tolerate self-blame and consistently present themselves as perpetually wronged, never wrong. Their planning involves carefully rehearsing their victim narrative, painting themselves as the suffering party, the one who was misunderstood, betrayed, or abandoned by you. They will recount exaggerated tales of your supposed cruelty or instability, eliciting pity and support from unsuspecting third parties. These flying monkeys serve multiple purposes. They act as sources of validation and sympathy. Supply for the narcissist. They can be used to gather information about your life, covert monitoring, and they can be weaponized to deliver veiled threats or Hoover attempts on the narcissist's behalf. Their planning ensures that they are never truly without an audience for their victimhood, and that your absence can be leveraged to gain new allies and further isolate you. This strategic manipulation through proxies allows them to maintain a sense of control and relevance in your absence, while minimizing their own perceived risk of direct rejection. 8. They are rigorously rewriting history to justify their actions. Cognitive dissonance. A pervasive and continuous aspect of a narcissist's secret planning behind no contact is the rigorous rewriting of shared history to justify their own actions and protect their fragile false self. This is a powerful form of cognitive dissonance reduction. Psychologically, narcissists live in a self-serving fantasy. Their grandiosity cannot coexist with the uncomfortable truth of their abusive behavior or their responsibility for the relationship's demise. When you go no contact, the reality of their actions might briefly threaten to pierce their delusion. To counteract this, their planning involves a constant, meticulous revision of the past. They will distort memories, omit crucial details, invent false narratives, and selectively remember events in a way that always casts them as the hero or the victim, and you as the villain or the problem. They will convince themselves that they were justified in their abuse, that you deserved it, or that you were simply too sensitive. This internal rewriting of history is not about convincing you, since you're in no contact, but about convincing themselves and anyone else who will listen. This planning protects their ego from the crushing shame of accountability and allows them to maintain their grandiose self-image. Without this internal revision, the reality of their actions would be too painful to bear. This continuous process of self-deception ensures they never truly learn or change, solidifying their pathological patterns for future relationships. 9. They are waiting for your weakness and patiently testing your boundaries. Finally, a key long-term secret plan a narcissist harbors behind no contact is a patient waiting game, observing for any signs of your weakness and periodically testing your boundaries. They rarely view no contact as permanent. They often see it as a temporary challenge. Psychologically, narcissists thrive on control and believe they can eventually break anyone's resolve. They have a pervasive sense of entitlement that dictates you owe them access and supply. Their planning involves waiting for an opportune moment when your resolve might weaken. This could be triggered by a significant life event for you: a breakup, a loss, a perceived failure, a holiday, an anniversary, or simply a random Tuesday when their supply is low. They will send test Hoovers, a seemingly innocuous text, a random social media like, an email about a shared memory, designed to gauge your response and see if the door is even slightly ajar. These are not genuine attempts at reconnection, but calculated probes. Their planning involves a profound lack of respect for your boundaries. They believe you are simply playing hard to get, or that your no means try harder later. This waiting game highlights their persistence and their pathological inability to accept rejection or the loss of control. It underscores the vital importance of maintaining unwavering no contact, because they are constantly, patiently, looking for the smallest crack in your fortress to re-establish their insidious grip. Understanding what narcissists are secretly planning behind no contact is not meant to instill fear, but to empower you with profound clarity and knowledge. Their silence is not indifference. It is often a strategic calculation, a period of assessment, manipulation, and the careful laying of groundwork for future attempts to regain control and supply. They are constantly evaluating, monitoring, cultivating, smearing, playing the victim, rewriting history, and patiently waiting for your vulnerability. This knowledge is your shield. It reinforces the absolute necessity of unwavering no contact, because every one of their secret plans is designed to exploit your natural human desire for closure, connection, or understanding. By remaining silent, by reinforcing your boundaries, And by focusing relentlessly on your own healing and growth, you systematically dismantle their strategies. You deny them the supply they crave, expose their manipulative tactics, and ultimately render their planning utterly futile. Your journey to freedom is a testament to your resilience. By understanding their covert operations, you can anticipate their moves and steadfastly refuse to participate in their games. Your peace, your healing, and your liberation are the ultimate victory. Thank you for joining us on this vital journey of insight and empowerment. If this video has resonated deeply with you, or if you believe it could bring crucial understanding and a clear path forward to someone you know, please share it widely and with intention. Let's continue to illuminate the path toward healing and authentic connection for everyone. And please, hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more guidance on your path to recovery. Until next time, stay strong, stay aware, and keep prioritizing your profound peace.